YouTube viewers, I am back once again to share information that I love to share, which is mainly the truth about history, about modern day future prophecy or prophecy itself, and other things that I find relevant and necessary to talk about, and what I find that may be interesting to the public ear. Mainly, I want to talk about as far as the origin of Antichrist. Both of them folks like, boo. Nobody want to hear about this stuff. Talk about politics and Hillary and prophecy on it. All yeah, okay. But man, I wanted to tap on it because it does involve with prophecy as far as Antichrist and how they develop. So as far as on Baraxian and not just on Baraxian, but in the Middle East. Of course, when it comes to Antichrist, people, those with those mentalities. Of course, number one, how those mentalities develop is Satan. Satan is an automatic Antichrist, and not a he, but she, but automatic Antichrist, and try to take and strip down Jesus and try to take away his recognition, admiration, and glory as much as possible. So that's number one. Number two, as far as how that mentality can develop amongst people, is those who create righteousness for themselves, self-righteous people. They don't follow all the commandments that's applied to them, and they pick and choose to follow only certain commandments. And they, out of, let's say, basic 10 commandments, out of those basic 10, they choose to only apply 4 of those commandments in their life. And they apply those 4 commandments in their life, and by them not applying all of the commandments that was given to them, they end up running into a ditch. They end up running into a pitfall that they can't get themselves out of. So now here they miserable, they mad, they frustrated, and the first person they blame it on is Jesus. They say, oh, if Jesus loved me, why did Jesus allow me to be in this pitfall? Why he allowed me to be in this ditch when it was mainly their faults in the first place? You only applied a certain percentage of the commandments in your life, instead of the whole 100%. And if you abide by the whole 100%, that pitfall would have been avoided as far as that person got themselves into in the first place. So that right there as well. So that's why there's a lot of Antichrist people today who says, forget Jesus or screw Jesus or the F word Jesus, because of them creating righteousness for themselves. A lot of people think that Jesus is supposed to love them. They take his love for granted and thinking that they automatically supposed to receive mercy. They automatically supposed to, get pulled out of whatever situation they in that they can't get themselves out of. They think that's automatically supposed to come, but it's a mutual thing. It's a two-way street. He does something for you, you got to do something for him back. And a lot of people got this selfish mentality that, he's supposed to love me. I thought he loved me. I thought he cared for me. Why he let me get in this situation? Well, it's just like your parents, your mom or dad. You go get yourself in a situation you can't get yourself out of, and they repetitively, constantly getting you out of trouble, constantly bailing you out of trouble. But this time they say, hey, they just leave you there and let you suffer for a little while. Or where you possibly have to figure out how to get yourself out, but you don't know how to get yourself out. They don't want you can depend on, so they allow you to suffer for a while. So that right there points out as far as the mentality of so many people who are antichrist. So like I said, mainly Satan and those who have this self-righteous mentality only choose to follow a certain percentage of the commandments and end up being in a ditch or pothole and blame Jesus. Say, oh, it's his fault. No, it's your fault because you didn't apply every commandment in your life and you was disobedient or rebellious to certain things that was taught to you. So on it right there. Now number two, as far as in Barack's case, is, well, I mean, of course, opposition, but I mean, I already pretty much tapped on Barack, but mainly the deep down origin as far as with the Muslims, I want to tap on that. You know, I already tapped on a whole lot about Barack, so I'm gonna leave that situation on. But mainly how a whole lot of Muslims, and while a lot of particularly black Muslims, but I mean Muslims originated from a dark complected person anyway, Ishmael or brown complected, but once again beside the point. But during the times of slavery, when the slaves, you know, a lot of the slave masters claimed that they was Christians, and a lot of the slaves that endured those hardships from the slave masters, you know, paid attention to their master's culture, their master's way of living. And like I said, a lot of those slave masters claimed that they was Christians. They claimed, you know, they talked and spoke about Jesus, and you know, saying that this where Christian came from, and this what they practice, and this what they follow after. But those same people that claimed to be Christians was the ones that was whipping and beating the slaves. Some of the males was raping the women of the slaves. You know, all these degrading things that was happening amongst the slaves from these people who claimed that they was Christians, or said, hey, you know, yeah, I mean, basically those people that claimed that they was Christians. So a lot of slaves had the mentality, you know, Christianity was a horrible religion. You know, Christianity was something that involved violence, and they also thought that, you know, this Christ person must be evil, because if these are the products of Christ, then Christ must be an evil person that has a violent mentality. So this would have caused a lot of slaves to oppose Christianity, and that's why some elderly blacks say that Christianity is a white man religion. You know, so there exists amongst the black, you know, amongst most Muslims. You know, particularly in the black Muslims. I mean, as far as the American Muslims, African American Muslims, that's why they teach that black supremacy and hate message, because of what the slaves endured during the times of slavery. So this right there, why the Muslim population continued to grow. And Barack was somewhat raised around it, as he talked and spoke on how he grew up in a segregated environment, how he had to ride on the back of the bus, and all those other things, all those other experiences of opposition that Barack had. So I just wanted to tap on this as far as the origin of the Antichrist. You know, a lot of people who live for Jesus endure hardships, and they expect Jesus to bail them out, but not realizing that they got to drink their bitter cup too. And when people have to drink from their bitter cup, they think God or Jesus, or particularly Jesus, don't care, don't love them anymore, so they end up turning away. But I mean, if you're gonna follow out the footsteps of Jesus, you too must drink your bitter cup. We all have bitter cups that await us, and that bitter cup is that time of testing. That bitter cup is that time of tribulation that we do not want to taste, none whatsoever. And when we get a taste of it, it is very bitter, and we frown up at the taste of the situations that we be in when it comes to trials and tribulations. So, but I just wanted to tap on the origin of the Antichrist, basic and general stuff right here. This one, something I wanted to share, since I ain't been out here recording in a while, but I got much more that I want to share anyway. So I really highly appreciate y'all tuning in to my channel, and I'm glad I'm making it interesting for you, because I see the numbers I continue to grow. So that means people must be enjoying what they hear. So of course, feel free to leave a text, comment, video response, and let's have this conversation together. So peace be unto you, my favorite departure line, and Christ for life.